Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to give you a video on how to make a summer wreath just like this one. I did this the other day and I made a video all about how I did it. So if you're interested in seeing how to make this summer wreath, then just keep on watching. Alright, let's go over a few things that you're going to need for this wreath. First you'll need a sheet of newspaper to lay everything on. And next you'll need a wire frame. This one's 18 inches and I got it from Michael's. You can get it at basically any craft store. Next you're going to need a roll of burlap. This one is 10 yards and I got this at Michael's as well. Next up you're going to need some fishing net. This is just a small pack I got at Michael's. Comes with a little seashell in it. Next you're going to need your seaweed type greenery. This I got from Hobby Lobby. Now you're going to need a hot glue gun. This is just one that we've had probably forever. And you're going to need lots of shells. These are shells I've collected over my years of living in Florida. And let's go on and get started. You're going to take your burlap and wrap it a couple times around the wire frame. I wrapped it twice, and this is just sped up because it took a very long time to do. After you've successfully wrapped the wireframe twice, you're going to want to close it off, fold up the end, and hot glue it to make sure it stays sealed.
Ryan Little.
And next we're going to move on to the seaweed. So at first I thought I was going to wrap the whole seaweed around the frame, but I found out that that wouldn't give me the look I was going for. So instead I took off each individual piece of seaweed from the main vine, I guess you could say, and I'm just putting them all into a pile right now. Alright, now I've moved ahead a little bit. I started putting the seaweed on in a pattern that I thought looked nice. So you're just going to take a couple pieces of seaweed at a time, hot glue the ball parts of them to the burlap first, and then wrap it around the frame and hot glue it every so often to make sure that it stays in place. Some of the strands are really thin, so you want to be careful when putting hot glue on them and make sure to put it on the thick parts of seaweed, otherwise they'll break off. Once you're finished covering the whole burlap in seaweed, I went over and just filled in a couple sparse areas with the little bits that I had left over. After I finish putting the seaweed on, I'm going to put on the fishing net. I took apart the big fishing net and took a smaller piece of it, and I'm going to put it on the seaweed. And it really doesn't need any hot glue for this. All you have to do is lay it on the area you want it to be, and what I did was I pulled some of the pieces through so that it would kind of hold on to the seaweed, but you do not really need to hot glue this in. So here you can see me pulling through pieces of the seaweed into the netting to help it stay in place. all that's done, it's time to put on the shells. So I took the biggest shells that I had and rearranged them on the wreath first before I started to hot glue them in. Once you make sure all the big shells are securely in place, then I went ahead and added more medium-sized shells, around 2 to 3 around each big shell, and then hot glued them all in place. And then once all the medium-sized shells were in, I took smaller shells and arranged them around the whole wreath, trying to fill in some bigger gaps. Okay guys, that was my video on how to make a summer wreath. Now this wreath is probably the least expensive one that I've made so far. Usually the average cost is around $35-ish for me to make wreaths, but this one was probably around $20. And the reason it wasn't as expensive was because everything I got was on sale, half off or 40% off or something, and all the shells are mine. Like, I've collected these shells over the years from numerous beaches, so I did not have to buy any of these shells. If you have to buy shells, you don't have enough or whatever, it will probably be more expensive than that. But still, making this wreath is going to be so much cheaper than buying a wreath like this. Number one, there isn't a wreath like this on the market. I've looked. It doesn't exist. And number two, wreaths that have this much shell work on them usually run about $70. So even if you have to buy shells and it ends up being around $30, it's still so much of a price difference, and it's worth it to make it yourself. I've been thinking actually about selling some of my past wreaths that I've made. I'd make like an Etsy shop or something and sell the past ones that I've made. So if any of you guys are interested in that, if you know someone who is, let me know and I'll get that going. Yeah, I think I'm gonna make this a series. Like I said, I'm gonna make like a fall one, probably a Christmas one, a winter one, you know, another spring one. Yeah, maybe even a Halloween one this year if I'm feeling pretty, you know, if I'm feeling really spooky, I might do a Halloween one. So yeah, let me know how you guys like this. Show me pictures if you make it. Send it to my Twitter or my Instagram, and I would love to see what you guys come up with. You don't have to, obviously you don't have to do the same thing I did. If you don't want to use the net, for example, you don't have to. If you want to use different kinds of shells, you can. If you want to rearrange them in a different way, you totally can. Just send me pictures. I'd really love to see what you guys come up with. So yeah, that's it for this video. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!